So, hi everyone, just the woke up Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time to talk about this new Laufey record, Bewitched. This person is an Icelandic singer, songwriter, and pianist, and their second record here is causing quite a stir among music nerds and young people. She is a young Billie Eilish-endorsed artist with millions of followers on TikTok, who are essentially getting clued into the world of vocal jazz through her music. So I went into this record kind of curious to hear what the hubbub is all about, and I gotta be honest, I do not hear the hype. Look, I tried, and for what it's worth, I can see why Laufey would stand out in a bold and beautiful way in the current music landscape. Her songs are a lot more elegant, organic, and nuanced than 90% of what's out there in the pop field. So in that sense, Bewitched is for sure a breath of fresh air. But if you actually hold this record to the standards of the genres that it pulls from, it folds like an origami project. Because for sure, while Laufey does hit all the right notes during these songs, it's only through carefully boxing herself into a limited vocal range, and also kind of singing like she's walking on eggshells. And while the vocals are mostly palatable and sometimes sweet, occasionally expressive too, like in the case of the opener, there's no real wow factor. There's nothing gripping. These vocals are not the type to keep my attention for a 48-minute runtime, because they're not just lacking in range, but also volume and presence too, to the point where Laufey's vocals can barely contend with the string sections on the second track or even the closer. Not to mention other cuts on this thing that lean heavier into the arranged instrumentation, sound like something out of a bad Disney musical. And a lot of the time the instrumental backing feels even more unseasoned, lacking in detail, pizzazz, band chemistry, and even the kind of dynamic playing that can pull at your heartstrings sometimes. Especially on tracks here that see Laufey and her band heading more in, I guess, a bossa nova direction, where the pianos are too shy to do much other than just add some very simple chord phrasing. To put it another way, these cats are not cooking. They're not sauteing, they're not blanching, they're not frying, they're not boiling, they're not even microwaving. I've heard more heat coming off first-year jazz students, which is why I think some of these tracks sound more at home on cuts that center more around rock or guitar pop, such as on While You Were Sleeping or Lovesick. But, you know, maybe this album isn't about the band's performances, maybe it's not about the chops, which is fair. There's a countless number of 60s and 70s vocal pop albums that have kind of a jazzy backbone to them. But that again just leads me to circle back to the singing, because the vocalists on those types of records way back when were usually some of the best that the industry had to offer at the time, which is not at all what we're getting here. So, I don't know, with this album, am I being overly dismissive? Am I being like an old head or something? Personally, I don't think so, because this album isn't bringing a new sound or a new twist on a sound I'm familiar with that maybe I'm just having a hard time getting into. No, this record is bringing something old, and just something old, and that's it. The problem is that there's no interesting or refreshing twist on any of it, and it doesn't really hold a candle to the greats that pioneered this genre and are so obviously influences of hers, be that Chet Baker, be that Ella. Plus, on top of it, it only sounds slightly less hokey than acts like She and Him, whose entire appeal rests on the quaint nostalgia of the music that they perform. But I guess at least this album may sort of be getting young people into jazz. If it serves as some kind of gateway, ultimately, I think that's a good thing. And again, I can see why Laufey is standing out in the current music field, because we don't currently live in super strong or prolific times for vocal jazz. So I suppose somebody making an average record in that style that connects with young people is better than there being no records in that field currently that connect with young people, though you should be listening to that recent Natalia Lafourcade record. My ultimate hope from here is that Laufey's records down the road have a bit more to offer musically, because for sure I think it is impressive and cool that a new young artist is bringing this kind of sound back. And there are spots on this album where, you know, the songs are there and the lyrics are quite nice, but again, the performances are not really there. The range is lacking and the aesthetics are pretty bland too. I'm feeling a light to decent 5 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Laufey, forever.